I think it's our culture, our heritage, growing up in the hill country, being so proud of our land. As an old German family, sometimes maybe more land rich, cash poor, but we still really value the land. And so with that, I think it's always just been a part of her whenever she was young, down the road from the LBJ property, but through her life of just wanting to conserve this natural resource.
Carolyn launched the land trust movement in Texas.
I pioneered the development of the Texas Land Trust Council concurrently with training and education about this tool called conservation easements. It's a role in helping with issues of climate change and its impact on resources.
Carolyn got 2 Parks and Wildlife commissioners who could not have been more radically different, Terry Hershey and Lee Bass, who agreed on almost nothing besides the fact that the sun came up in the east and set in the west, to invest in Carolyn to start this land trust program at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And Carolyn brought them together at the point of common ground, like she always does, with both of them recognizing that the key to any successful conservation in Texas is through partnerships with private landowners. And that was the genesis, really, of the land trust movement. And Carolyn became, as Ted Siff famously said, the den mother for all Texas land trusts. She was the convener, she was the enabler, she was the catalyst, she was the inspiration. And 25, 30 years later, looking back and several million acres conserved across the state in partnership with private lands, none of that would have happened but for Carolyn Vogel.
Carolyn, there's a commissioner that would like to meet you. And I said, fabulous. And he said, and she's going to talk to you about conservation easements. And I kind of rolled my eyes and went, I'm excited, and Mike, I don't know anything about conservation easements. And this was about 1992. And he said, it's all right, we'll get you educated. Meet Terry Hershey. In the late 90s, when we were launching the Texas Land Trust program at Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, one of the first things I asked was, how many acres of land are already protected in this permanent way through the use of conservation easements? And discovered after doing an inventory that there was about 300,000 acres of land protected and preserved, and with organizations such as the Nature Conservancy, the Valley Land Fund. There were just a handful of land trust organizations. Yesterday, when I looked at the statistics here in 2025, which there are many more land trust organizations that work with landowners to protect their land permanently, that figure today is 2 million acres.
Currently, Mom, Carolyn, is still trying to actively get more women, specifically in conservation. She started hosting here in the Hill Country women, we call it women of the land get-togethers. And so, I mean, she's still, even though, she's had her time at Parks and Wildlife, she's had time with the Texas Land Trust Council, but now even in kind of her next phase of her life, she's still wanting to gather women now together. And so that's something too that I think that's still a part of her leadership is, again, the mentoring, the supporting women in conservation.
I stay motivated on the words of the CEO of Parks and Wildlife for 11 of the years I was there, and that's Andy Sansom. He said, Carolyn, trailblazers and those of us that are working for the long term have to know and have to trust that we're not going to see all the fruits of our labor. It will always be with me that I was given the opportunity at Texas Parks and Wildlife Department to learn about conservation easements, and then to go, who are these organizations? Where are they? And that evolved pretty quickly into, and I'm a facilitator by nature, and a collector of people, and a love of people and their energy. And so pretty quickly, those questions ended up being, let's create the Texas Land Trust Council. So that's probably, of all of this work that I've had an opportunity to participate in through the years, that's still in my heart as an accomplishment, but not for me, an accomplishment for Texas Resources.
As someone that works in conservation, I know that there are several others that have received this award before, that their children are also in conservation too. It's something that, again, we are carrying the torch, but I also think it's something too that because there are more of us now, I think the torch has expanded. Maybe it's not so heavy on us as individuals, but it's something where, you know, there are more organizations, there are more land trusts, there are more conservation easements. More is being done to protect our natural resources and be good stewards of that.